Hey! The for block, part of Angular's new control flow syntax, is great for repeating HTML elements in our templates. And it provides useful features such as an empty block, odd and even row indication, and easier change tracking. In this video, we walk through 5 fun features of the for block. I'm in StackBlitz looking at a sample application. This for block loops through each element in this iterable collection, which is an array, and repeats this set of HTML elements. We see the result here. If I type in a filter string, the collection is filtered, and the for block displays only those filtered items. But what if I type in something that doesn't match? Nothing appears. A nice not found message would be more user-friendly. We could add an if block to check for an empty collection. But with the new for block, we now have an optional empty block. We define the empty block after the for block, at empty. Then provide the content to display. This content appears when the collection is empty. I'll enter a filter again, and we see our message. Nice! And if I put in a filter that does match, we again see our list of items. What if our users want these items numbered? The for block provides a contextual variable for that purpose, $index. $index provides the index number of the current iterated element. To use $index, we add a let expression to the conditional, semicolon to define another expression, let. Then define a variable, I'll name it IDX, and set it equal to $index. We can then use that variable anywhere within our for block. In this example, we'll add it to the front of the snack name. Whoops! Computers index from 0, but people index from 1. So let's add a +1 here. That looks better. The for block also provides contextual variables defining whether the current iterated element is the first or last element. That way we can adjust the template or styles for the first or last element. In this example, we want a particular style for the first and last elements. Since we already have a let expression here, we can add to it for each contextual variable we want to use. Comma, first equals $first. Comma, last equals $last. Now we can use these variables anywhere within our for block. Let's change the style class for the first and last rows. I'll use the ng-class directive to set the style class, bold in this case, if displaying the first or last element. And we see the first and last rows in bold. Okay, not very creative, but you get the idea. More useful, perhaps, are the $odd and $even contextual variables. They identify whether the index of the current element is odd or even. We can add them to the same let expression, comma, odd equals $odd, comma, even equals $even. Then change the ng-class directive to display odd and even stripes. We'll add the stripe for even rows. We now have a nice stripe display. Slick! Since the index starts with 0, which is an even number, our first element and every other element after it are striped. Note that these contextual variables are all optional. Only define those you need. Notice that we aren't using the odd variable here, so we can delete it. There is one more contextual variable, $count. This defines the number of items in the collection. We declare a variable to hold the $count within the let expression, comma, count equals $count. At first this sounded quite useful, but then I realized that the variable is only accessible from within the for block. So if we display this count, that count is repeated for each element. I'll undo that. We could instead use the count to adjust the display or style of the elements. Say we want to compress the display if there are more than a page full of items. Here we'll set a short style if the count is greater than 4. That could be useful, but for now, let's change that to 6. Okay, looking good. One key difference between the original ng-for directive and the new for-block syntax is the track expression. When using ng-for, the track by was optional. The new for-block requires a track expression. The track expression defines a key used to match up the items in the collection with the displayed HTML elements. This key allows Angular to better track which elements require re-rendering when the collection changes. Using track effectively can improve performance, especially when looping over large collections that are changed. What should you define as the track expression? One option is to use $index, but this should only be used if the iterated collection doesn't change. Let's think about that for a moment. Regardless of what we do to a collection, the index is always 0, 1, 2, and so on. Since the index never changes, using $index isn't helping Angular decide what to re-render. In our example, we're filtering the list, so $index is not sufficient. In many cases, the collection does change. Items are reordered or filtered, item values, such as the price, are modified, or items are added or removed. If the collection does change, use a property of the element that uniquely identifies each element, such as the object's ID. In this example, we use the snack item ID. If there is no unique identifier, we could use the address of the item itself. Or we could instead define a function. Then in the component, we write a function that takes in the index and item, performs some process, and returns a unique identifier. I haven't come up with a case where this would be useful, except for backward compatibility, since the original trackby required a function. If you have a scenario where you would use a function for track, I'd like to hear about it. Going back to the template, I'll change it back to track the snack item by ID. So, take advantage of these useful, fun features of the for block. Have you found any other fun things you can do with a for block? Please share using the comments section below this video. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.